Hi, it's Charlene with Tranquil Tuesdays, and like I've been promising for the last 2 weeks, I'm finally making a video on cold brew tea. I thought since temperatures are getting hotter, at least in the Northern Hemisphere where I live, it would be great to share with you how to make a super easy, refreshing, cold summer beverage with your teas. And it really is the easiest possible way to drink loose leaf tea, very hard to mess up, and I'm going to show you how simple it is. So first, you take cold room temperature water, just turn on the faucet in my kitchen, put this water in here. You can use special filtered water, however you might have it. Take some loose leaf tea. In this demonstration, I'm going to use Taeguanying Iron Goddess of Mercy Oolong tea, which is a tea that we brewed hot in the video how to use a gaiwan to brew loose leaf tea. So you take some leaves, you put it into the cold water, you put a lid on it, and you put it in the fridge. And you let it sit there for 6 to 12 hours. And magically, 11 hours later, you get something like this. And as you see here, the leaves have really opened up, the flavors have released, and this is actually what I brewed it in. And we're gonna try some. So I brewed this for 11 hours. You do not want to brew it more than 12 hours. You still can over steep your teas even when you're cold brewing it, and then you have the same problems of astringency that we talked about in the video about whether or not to use milk in your teas. It's really nice. So it's the characteristic flavors of Taeguanying that I really enjoy, which are kind of this floral, buttery, grassy, coconutty flavors, but it's in just a lighter, crisper format because it was made with just cold water. There was no heat at any point, as you saw. And so I think one of the really interesting things about cold brewing tea is you can use the same leaves that you would drink in a hot tea, but you're getting many of the same flavors, but you're kind of getting a different dimension or a different side of its personality when you cold brew it versus using heat to drink it. And the scientific reason for that is when you're brewing tea with hot water, the heat is hitting the leaf, and the heat itself is cooking the leaf a little bit and creating some chemical reactions which will release the flavors and extract the flavors. And so that's just a more, I don't want to say aggressive, but it's just a much more assertive way to extract flavor out of the leaf. Whereas with cold brewing, you're using water to do more of a slow, simple, steady extraction. And since you never have heat involved, there's not the same chemical reaction involved in releasing the flavors, so you don't get exactly the same flavors. You get very similar, but a little bit different. And it's just really interesting to taste these differences, and I invite you to try that with different teas you like. Not all teas have worked for me in cold brewing. I find the ones that have worked the best are oolongs and green tea. I have not had as much success with black tea, pu'er, or white teas in cold brewing. And I made actually a second one. I made cold brew batch of our Phoenix Honey Orchid Oolong tea. And this is a tea that I love as a cold brew. It tastes very refreshing. Oh, it's so good. I'm gonna put this up here. So this is the tea that we brewed in the video about how to appreciate pure and natural flavors, appreciating unscented, unblended teas. You can watch how to brew it hot in that video. But when you cold brew it, I feel like the floral and citrus flavors become so prominent in a way that it's not quite the same when it's brewed with hot water. Yeah, I just felt the citrus and the floralness become very prominent, and it just becomes so refreshing and delightful. So if you want to know a little specifics, I will also write this below, but for this Phoenix Honey Orchid Oolong, I used 1.5 liters, which is 6 cups of water, and I used 3 tablespoons of tea. I put it in 11 hours ago, and this is what it looks like now. When I say in, I mean put it inside the refrigerator. And then for this brew, which I poured out here so you have a better look at what it looks like. This is 5 cups of water with 2 tablespoons of tea. And 11 hours later, that's what we got. So I hope you have a chance to try some cold brew teas, experiment with the teas you have at home. Next week I'm gonna make a video about cooling down with hot tea, which is it seems counterintuitive, but a fundamental Chinese medicine and food principle, which is cooling down with hot tea. And so we'll talk about that next week. But in the meantime, I hope you have a chance to experiment with cold brew teas and you find it a very easy and refreshing way to enjoy tea in the summer. Thanks for watching.